And am I going to have to refarm gear?
Absolutely, absolutely not. That's one of the things that we wanted to make sure we took care of, which is we want to respect players' time, and we want to make sure that whenever they want to play something that they want to play, they have the gear they want to do it, and they will challenge you. But you will stick with the gear you want, and you will play with that gear that you play with. You won't have to refarm it at every single Ultimate Vault Hunter mode.
Yeah, you don't have to refarm, but of course, if you're like me, you want that perfect drop, and you're going to go hunt for it, and you can absolutely farm as much as you want and get that. You'll find better and better drops. There are, after all, 30 billion guns in Borderlands 4.
Hello guys, Termex here, and welcome back to another Borderlands video. If you want to see more Borderlands 4 content, I am a Borderlands YouTuber, so be sure to subscribe and stick around. But today I want to talk about the endgame loot chase in Borderlands 4 and my general concerns about it, and some things that were mentioned during the PAX West conference that have been stuck on my mind, and just in general topics I want to discuss. They did mention that at this conference, the endgame of Borderlands 4, you won't need to refarm your gear, and Borderlands being a, well, farming game, kind of raised an eyebrow for me in the whole aspect of what do you mean by that? With Borderlands 2, we had the OP levels where you had to refarm your gear every so often. Borderlands 3, the Mayhem levels for the anointments, if things were Mayhem 10 or not, I guess you had to kind of refarm. But what really raised an eyebrow for me is, are we talking in general with, oh, once you get a gun you like, you don't need to refarm it because there's going to be some sort of system in place to where you don't need to roll it back up? Is there not going to be level cap increases in this game to where, let's say we're level 50 and level 60 comes out, do we not need to refarm those weapons? If that's the case, I think, coming from a guy that doesn't like the level cap increases, I think that's kind of annoying and kind of not something I would personally prefer, because when new level caps come out, it gives you a reason to play the game again, right? As long as they're not very minute, like Borderlands 3 did, where it's like 3 levels just to make you get on the game and you don't really feel that jump. You can still like play the game with the gear from the previous update. But with how rare and crazy the weapon part system is going to be in Borderlands 4, it almost makes me believe that once you get a drop, you can scale it infinitely to your character's level might just be a thing. For instance, I'm in Borderlands 2 right now while I'm commentating this. If, let's say, this Hornet was level 72, right? If a level cap increase came out to level 80, if I'm on a level 72 character, as I leveled up on my character, all my gear and items within my character leveled up with me, maybe that would make more sense when it comes down to you don't have to refarm your gear. I just hope it was like maybe misspoken at PAX West, because the whole term you don't need to refarm is still stuck in my head, and I wish we had a more clear outlook on what it is. Option number 2, when they say you don't need to refarm your gear, they could have simply meant just for the endgame Ultimate Vault Hunter mode system in general. Going into that system, maybe when you're in the Ultimate, that's all that they meant, and they were just poorly wording it. A few things were poorly worded at the conference, and I wouldn't doubt that that is one of them. But I'm curious, do you guys even care about any of that stuff? Do you guys even foresee any of this being a huge deal? I just think, knowing Borderlands in the game that Borderlands is, it would upset me if once I hit level 50, I have all the gear I'm going to have indefinitely. I want to be able to keep farming, which they said you're going to have the availability to do so, but the endgame loot chase, now that Pearlescents are back, is going to be a lot different, and I do think if you get that 1% Pearlescent, are you going to be able to alter the parts on it? Are you going to be able to change things on it? And the way they're saying it gives me the impression that it's exactly what they are doing. But the last thing I will say, maybe it is entirely possible that when it comes to the Ultimate Vault Hunter mode scaling, it's very similar in a case where you're not leveling up yourself anymore. You have to refine your build, refine your parts, refine your skill tree in order to keep up with the difficulty. Meaning, when the content does get increasingly harder, your character doesn't increasingly get stronger, if that makes sense. The character progression isn't really linear to the point where, oh, you're an OP8, so you're going to get OP guns. No, I think Borderlands 4 is going to be, oh, you're an OP8, figure out your build and see why you can't accomplish the content. Get different parts. Upgrade your new endgame system that they said, the firmware system. I'm sorry, that took me a minute. The firmware system, the specialization system. Get all that in check. Check your skill trees, check your gear, and see if you can keep up with this content. Where I see the problem arising is for the game that is very marketed towards build diversity and the amount of skill trees and all this, wouldn't a system like this inherently make players choose a certain path that's just the easiest way of their build? And now, I know, we're getting into the whole conversation, well, if you want the strongest thing, of course it's going to be meta. There's always going to be one thing that's objectively strongest. And trust me, I do get that. But I do believe if they're doing it, they need to do it properly, obviously, because I don't want to be playing Harlowe and use like a cryo slam build for the entire playthrough, and then when I get to Ultimate Vault Hunter mode, all of a sudden I can't really perform, because why use cryo slam when I could use something else with a better class mod suited for a different ultimate that would perform just miles better, making the game a lot easier. You know what I mean? I don't want it to take away from the builds that people are going to to inevitably be making, because this game has a huge potential. Like Randy Pitchford said, me and you could be playing the same character with the same exact skill tree, like the same exact point for point skill tree, but we could be having drastically different builds based on what we are doing as part of our personal build, because the way gear, the firmware, and these specializations actually work. But TLDR, the firmware system, is something you could kind of implement into your gear similar to MMOs, and the specialization system is what is replacing badass rank, which allows you to spec into this miniature skill tree that allows you to get bonus benefits across all of your vault hunters. And I think that's going to be the most important system, because that XP is earned independently. So if you make a new character and level it up and make another character, you're keeping the same specialization skill tree across all of your vault hunters. So you might be rewarded for making multiple characters. Maybe it possibly levels it up faster, because on your gear, you don't need to be spec'd into that skill if a class mod gives it to you, meaning build diversity can be even stronger because you're kind of mix matching points from other places you technically shouldn't be spec'd, increasing your power for something that normally you wouldn't be able to do. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on all this with Borderlands 4? Would you rather have gear that you just farm once and you have forever, or do you enjoy that when there's an update, when there's a level cap, when there's a higher level of difficulty, that you're able to refarm your character and kind of get a refresh on all your gear, kind of like a new game plus? I know people are very 50-50 on the subject, and people love the fact when a level cap comes through that you're able to actually play it again. It almost feels like you're replaying the game, and a lot of people love that feeling. A lot of people in the Borderlands community enjoy that, while I know others are kind of annoyed because deep down in your head you're like, oh, I got this really nice SMG, perfect rolls, perfect everything, but they just increased level cap, so I can't use it anymore, so you have to refarm it. So the mindset can definitely go both ways depending on what kind of player you are, but I'd rather see what you guys have to say in the comments down below. If you want to stick around for more Borderlands content, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on another Borderlands video from me, and I'll see you guys later.